All right. So, welcome to Get Unplugged. And today is actually the very first edition, and it's a very historic moment right here. So, I'm glad to have you all here today. My name is Tyrone, and I'll be the host for today. You've probably been hearing about Get Unplugged rather, and you've probably seen some details here and there. But essentially, Get Unblocked is a project by Next Maven, and our vision, our aspiration is to be able to propagate success stories and by so doing inspire the next generation of technology experts and create a strong belief that it is possible to build a thriving career in tech, but not just the possibility of it, also the knowledge of how to go about it. And that's why we've gone around to convene you know top talents all over the place, people with background that resonates with yours, who are able to share their stories with us and elevate our aspirations, and of course get us by emulating their pattern, be able to achieve the same level of success or probably more. So the webinar series is going to run from today and every Saturday from now till September 20th. So we have 6 sessions in total, starting from today. And of course, I would encourage you to save the date if you've not done that yet. And of course, today, join me in welcoming a leading voice at the convergence of cloud technology and cybersecurity, Oluwaseun Onabanjo, cloud solution architect, security at Microsoft. As a distinguished alumna of Robert Gordon University, where she earned a master's degree in information and network security, Oluwaseun has forged an exceptional career implementing and managing security systems for global enterprises. At Microsoft, she architects security solutions that protect critical cloud infrastructure while enabling business innovation, and expertise shares on through pivotal role at Access Bank and tech experts. And yet, for all our technical mastery, Oluwaseun's greatest impact might be in lives she transforms. She dedicates her time to mentoring emerging talents through communities like the CyberSafe Foundation and personally guiding those who are imagining their professional futures. She embodies what's possible when expertise meets a genuine desire to uplift others. So join me to give a warm welcome to a leader who's building a more secure and inclusive future in tech. Everyone, Oluwaseun, welcome.
Thank you, Tyrone. Thanks.
All right, so um, we're just going to be learning about you. Like I said earlier, we're just looking forward to really getting your story, right?
Mhm.
And you sharing your story with us, we believe will help myself in particular and everyone on this call, I believe, to find one thing or the other, some insight, you know, just some light turned on in our mind, in our heads to, be able to add to the arsenal in terms of how we're pushing our career forward. And I'll start just by understanding what does it what is it really being a cloud solution security expert, right? Or more like a security expert currently at Microsoft. What's your day like?
Okay, so let me put my role simply. It's providing solutions to solve complex security problems, right? So if I were to put it cleanly without going into the technicalities of everything, right? A customer comes to me with a security problem, right? And my job is to provide a security solution that can help solve that problem. So this involves designing a secure solution, helping and guiding with implementation, Also doing workshops, doing technical design sessions. Um, and this is not just for the IT team. It cuts across, the CISOs, the CIOs, the SOC team, the threat team. Everyone is involved, right? So that's typically what my day is like, and no day is the same, right? Today I can be doing a workshop on a particular security solution that we have, and how it can help the organization or to protect your entire digital estate. And another day I can be in a design session where we're looking at different parts and how we can come up with an architecture um, you know for an organization. So no 2 days are the same, right? So it ranges, and that's what makes it exciting, right? Because my job is not we do the same thing 9 to 5, 9 to 5 every day. Every single day is different.
Wow. So, I mean, that means no day is boring, or you have some
Out.
boring days as well as some really challenging days.
I would say that some days could be challenging. Some I would say some weeks you can have a week where everything is just smooth sailing. You're able to a customer tells you a problem and you're able to say, oh, that's easy. Just do this, just do that. You just need to do this, you just need to do that. And some days for maybe organizations that have much more complex requirements and you're like, what are you talking about? Where do I start from? How do I break this down? Like, I don't even understand half of everything, half of whatever it is that, they're requesting for. So that's just what it is. So some days are good, some days could be, more challenging. But at the end of it, all is being in an organization where you don't have to do it alone, right? I we have different communities. We have different team members. We're not working alone, right? Even though we are all individual contributors in our role, we can always ask for help, right? You don't have to spend too much time on Google. It's possible that some whatever issue you're facing, someone else has already encountered it with another customer and they were able to resolve it. So
It,
that's just
it
what it is.
must it must feel really good to be surrounded by the experts, the best experts all over the world, working with top minds, working with the best talent
Hmm.
all over the world.
Hmm.
I mean, so for you, of course, definitely you are an expert in your own right, right? But then the kind of knowledge, the kind of, projects you're working on, that must really be interesting. Is that one of the things that that made you decide on Microsoft as where you want to work?
I would say yes, it's a contributing factor, right? So for me, when I thought about and my journey to Microsoft hasn't been it wasn't a smooth ride. It wasn't a case of, oh, I just applied for a job and I got it, right? So working here, just made me feel like, oh, I'm part of the big leagues, right? I'm working with so many experts from around the world, right? So we're not just dealing with people in my team. I can reach out to anybody, from around the world to assist with a problem, right? To give me an insight onto, how they resolved something or to advise me on how to go about something, right? So I'll tell you that's one of the driving forces as to why I said, oh, I really want to work for Microsoft. Apart from that, also the community as well. Apart from the technical stuff, right? The community as a whole, um, being able to juggle work, even though that sometimes the work can be a bit crazy, being able to juggle work and life at the same time, right? So the community is just inviting, it's not toxic, right? So yeah, I would say that those are like the driving forces as to why I wanted to work with.
And I dare say that the pay is also really to go for Microsoft. You like not to mention that?
No comment on that. I can't. But I can't. I can't complain. I can't complain. Yeah.
obviously. So, but then at what point did you decide, you know, I should target Microsoft at this level of my career? And then how did you get it?
Oh, yeah, sure. So just a little backstory. After I did my master's in cybersecurity, I came back to Nigeria saying I want to, work, I want to work in a cybersecurity company, right? And then when I came to Nigeria, I wouldn't call him a mentor, but someone I spoke to, the person who gave me my first job said, let me be honest with you, there are no cybersecurity jobs in Nigeria. I don't know where you think you are, but the people that that do security in this, they're looking for people with 10 years experience or more, right? So I started off as a front end developer, right? So I picked up a skill from cybersecurity. I had to switch. I started with UI UX, and then from there, the person who gave me my first job said, have you heard about cloud? And I'm like, yeah, everybody has heard about cloud. There's Google Cloud, there's OneDrive. What are you talking about? And then he's like, no, it's completely different from that, right? That's just one aspect of it, right? So let's talk about Microsoft Cloud. Let's talk about Azure. And this person used to be a Microsoft employee before he branched out to create his own company, right, to become a partner. So, he sort of mentored me into, learning about cloud as a whole, right? So we looked at the different parts, infrastructure, we looked at then security with Microsoft. It wasn't fully fledged, right? It was just, bits and pieces. And from there, I started picking up, skills on Microsoft Cloud. I started learning different areas. I started learning how to deploy virtual machines. I started learning. I also picked up, Power BI as well, right? So to do data analytics, I started doing SharePoint. I started doing, a lot of different, tasks, and a lot of, I was learning a lot of new things, right, around that space. So from there, I was like, okay, Microsoft has like really cool solutions that help organizations achieve certain things, right? So I want to build a workflow. Microsoft has a solution for that. I want to secure my organization. Microsoft has a solution for that. I need productivity tools. Microsoft has a solution for that. I was like, this could be a great company to work for. And that was where, I don't want to say obsession started from, but that was where it started from, right? And from there, I started looking at roles within Microsoft. And the truth is, in Microsoft Nigeria, because it's a much more smaller subsidiary, the roles probably come like maybe once or twice a year, right? So that's where I started applying. I started applying for roles, but then I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So all I knew was I wanted to work for Microsoft. I didn't know that, this is what I want. I want to be a cloud engineer. I want to be a cloud solutions architect. I want to be in sales. What do I want to do? Right. So from there, I was like, you know what? I need to build my skills more. So I left that company and then I moved to Tech Experts. Right. Tech Experts is a Microsoft partner. So what they do is that they provide support for Microsoft customers. And basically, I took that year, the year and a half that I worked there, I took that year as my learning year, right? I Even though a lot of people say, oh, there are a lot of issues around, I was like, it wasn't about the money, right? I took that year just to learn, right? And the trainings that we did, all the practical sessions, dealing with customers, sort of immersed me um, into what the solutions could do, right? And that was how I was also able to find my way back into cybersecurity, right? Because Microsoft started developing solutions around that area, right? So yeah, I would say that that journey sort of brought me to say that Microsoft is a company that I want to work for. And when I moved to Access Bank, what I did was, even though I was still applying, to Microsoft, I did multiple applications. I'm not gonna say how many applications I did, right? Because it was a lot. But moving to Access Bank was my first shot at being given the opportunity to work in cybersecurity, right? And even though I knew that Microsoft was still the goal, I kept on telling myself, how do I get to that point? Like how do I prepare myself for that for that job that that I want? So in Access Bank, if there was any Microsoft related projects that was going on that had to do with security, I always latched onto it, to the point that they sort of nicknamed me Madam Microsoft in the office. So for every project, Microsoft related project, whether it was small, it was big, I always found my way to being part of that project to sort of prepare me for the role that I wanted in Microsoft.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's something I've also noticed with someone I met who also got into Amazon,
Mhm.
AWS specifically. I've seen that share, purpose-driven approach towards how people go about their career. You already knew this is where I want to be. And you didn't want to use the word, but obsession is, I think, the closest to it in terms of you're really focused, right?
Yeah.
You see yourself in there, and you said, taking on the skills, learning the product, learning the environment, getting on as many projects as possible, to the extent that you build a reputation as Madam Microsoft, right?
Mhm.
And of course, that's eventually, led to exactly what you wanted. That's amazing. There's also some things you mentioned earlier, but I will delve into those nuances further into the questions. But what I would love to know, because I read or I noticed that you also had a degree before your master's, you had a degree also in tech, in
Mhm.
IT. So I suppose, or my assumption is that your early exposure to tech has helped you in one form or the other. But just want you to take a minute to talk about that.
Okay. So yeah, I would say yes. My early exposure to tech has sort of shaped my career because I know that there were certain I had instances where I there were instances where I thought that it was too hard, right? There was no way forward, right? Reading, learning this technical skills wasn't for me. Like it was too difficult. There was a time during my master's, I think it was the first or the second week, into it, after they outlined what we were going to be learning for the semester. And I remember calling my dad saying, Daddy, I want to switch to maybe international business or something because I can't do this. Right. So, um, you know, having that grit, that confidence that I can learn this stuff. There's nothing that I can't learn, right? As long as I put my mind to it, has sort of shaped my career, right? That I faced difficult technical challenges week weeks after weeks and week after week, and every time I think about, oh, I can't do this, I'm about to give up, I just remember, all the times, that I faced one challenge or the other, maybe going as far back as school, thinking that I can't learn, something, that sort of, gives me the confidence to, dig deeper. If I need to take some time off, take some time off and regroup. If I need to sleep, wake up and come back to it, right? So it has sort of shaped, how I handle things, how I approach, things in my career.
Amazing. One thing that's always common about people in tech, especially engineers, is that they have to be able to, dig in deep, right? Because
Yeah.
there's sometimes you just encounter a set of code that is really pulling you left, right, and center,
Hmm.
and you just have to stay at it overnight, sometimes days. You go at it to be able to find, to be able to find a solution to it. And I believe that tendency came out of, it's really built over time. And the good thing that you also had that you built that muscle, over time, in your undergrad days, when you've been doing your masters, and that helped you, I'm sure even in your job today. But what was one particular moment where you felt, like you were referring to, maybe tech isn't for me, maybe I should just go back to, being just a girl rather than being a tech girl.
Hmm.
What was that moment for you?
Oh, I have this moment at least once every month. I'm just like, no, this is not for me. Like, why am I struggling? Right? Why should I be struggling? I can do something else, right? Because the truth is, when you're, I have noticed this in tech, like it forces you to think, most especially like when you're dealing with complex issues or trying to find a solution to a problem, right? It forces you to think very deeply and also think outside of the box, right? So I don't have one tough moment in my career. I have like bits and pieces, like every other month or every other 2 months, where um, I have like so many things on my plate, and I'm like, how do I resolve this? Like, what solution do I don't have any solution to this, right? And I would go and ask my colleagues, oh, how should I approach this? Or my team members, oh, they're like, oh, I haven't experienced anything like this. I'm sorry, I can't help you. So you're pretty much on your own. But the thing is, for most of the technical issues, right, that are out there, there's definitely a solution, right? So I would say that I've had a lot of tough moments within my career, and I've asked myself, if it was worth it. But my driving force is I enjoy what I do, right? It's if you ask me if there's any other thing I would like to do, like full time, I wouldn't choose any other thing but tech, right? So that is my driving force. Um, I, I can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I don't mind working, all day, trying to find a solution to a problem. Sometimes I'm behind my desk working for till I don't even know when it's late at night, right? Because I enjoy what I do, right? I sometimes when I find a solution to a problem, I'm sure people that are in tech will probably have um, a similar reaction, right? When you finally resolve a problem, like you do like that fist in the air, like, yes,
Yeah.
I did it, I've gotten it, right? So for me, like that is my reward, right? So I enjoy what I do. Yes, I do have tough moments in my career from time to time. Um, Sometimes it could be more than once or twice a week, or sometimes it could be once a month. But yeah, I find a way to overcome it, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't see myself doing any other thing else.
Yeah, and it's important we talk about these things because,
Yeah,
some people assume that tech is just, beds of roses, very easy, just get some really cool cash and,
yeah,
flaunt your MacBook and all of that. But, it requires you to, it actually gets the best out of you. It demands the very best version of you.
hmm,
And I think, like you said, those moments where you eventually scale through and you're able to pump with your fist in the air to say, yes, I was able to get this done. I think those moments stay with you and continue to, encourage you to push further, to push further and to push other, in the next moments.
exactly, exactly. It's always important to know your why.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah, it's always
no,
important
why?
to know your why. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, the other time you did mention, you know, the first person that gave you a job when you got back to Nigeria
Mhm.
had worked at
Mhm.
Microsoft, and now you started off
Yeah.
like its own outfit, and that of course talks about mentorship and leveraging mentorship. So how
Mhm.
important was that mentorship in your journey, and
Mhm.
how for someone out there who's looking to also kick off their career in tech, how do they find the right mentor?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, mentorship was, or I would say is important, right? Because I still have my mentor. I mean, we don't talk every day, but I know that whenever I'm stuck, I can still reach out to my mentor to provide some level of guidance. Yes, the person who gave me my first job, yes, I did get some level of mentorship from him, but I would say that my main mentor, like the person that I would typically go to or run to if I'm stuck or I need advice when it comes to career, when it comes to my job as a solutions architect or my job in cybersecurity, this is the person I would go to, right? And he, this person I'm talking about works. We work in the same company, right? But he works in a completely different location. And the way our relationship is, or how it started, is it wasn't a case of, oh, I want to be like you. You know, I like that you're an architect. You look like you make, some good money. I want to know how to be like you. It wasn't that case. It was a case of how did you get here? Like, how did you transition? Because this person also transitioned from being an account manager to an engineer to an architect, and I'm like, how did you do it? How did you transition from this role to this role to that role? What did you have to do? Did you have to do boot camps? Did you have to watch videos? Did you have to do hands-on, stuff, labs or whatever? How did you get to where you are, like right now? Um, and it wasn't just a case of, oh, don't worry, you get there, just join this boot camp, just do this, just do that. It was a case of, I'm working on this project, do you want to hop on this project? I'm working on this project. Tell me what your thoughts are. How do you think I should approach this? Right. So it was a very hands-on approach. So mentorship is very important. It all depends on what you're looking to get out of that mentorship, um, of what you're hoping to get from your mentor, right? Some mentors, sort of inspirational, tell you, oh, you can do this, don't worry, you've got this. All you need to do is this, this, and that. And some mentors are very practical, very they have a hands-on approach as to how you should go about certain things in your career. So finding the right mentor, it depends on what I would say that it all depends on what you're looking for, right? So do you want someone who's going to hold your hand and guide you and tell you that everything's going to be okay? Or are you looking for someone with a more hands-on approach that is going to tell you what to do, guide you on what to do, and how to do it, um, pull you in if they're working on something, if it's possible, if they're working on something and they need your they need to understand your thought process or how you would approach that situation. Yeah. So
Maybe.
yeah.
I suppose I'm looking for someone like you to mentor me. And I suppose that's also the notion for quite a number of people who are listening in. But if you have questions, so please don't forget to share your questions in the comment. We'll take a moment later on to just answer a few questions in the chat and direct questions to Sean, right?
Yeah.
So drop the questions in the chat. But Sean, the next question the focus is in terms of, if you were to go back, given all that you know now, you mentioned how it wasn't a direct approach. You had to try this and try that. You had to go here and go there.
Mhm.
Based on what you know now, what would you have done differently?
I would say stepping outside of my comfort zone, stretching beyond what is safe and familiar. Because the truth is, and most people don't like to accept this, right? But growth actually lives outside of our comfort zones, right? Sometimes when you say, "Oh, this is what I know. This is, um, for example, this is the technology. This is what I know how to deploy." If you bring any other thing outside of this, I can't do it, right? That I shifted my mindset to, oh, you want me to do this, or I don't have the technical skills to do it now, but in the next 1 or 2 months, if you ask me again, I'll be ready, right? So I'll say earlier in my career, very, I was very shy. I would say, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's too hard. This is what I know, and this is what I'm sticking to." Right. But now, when I joined Microsoft, it sort of pushed me to learn beyond what I already know, right? So I'll give an example of I had someone came to meet me about a particular request, and I said, I don't actually touch this, subject area. Like it's not part of what I do. It's not. I don't know anything about it, right? And then I thought to myself after a while, I was like, okay, you talk to this person. This person can probably help, even though it could be part of my scope. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I learn how to how to do this, right? It's not rocket science. I can figure it out. And I think another request came a few weeks after, and I took on the delivery, right? Even though there were like 1 or 2 questions that, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I didn't have the direct. I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back to you with an answer, right? I don't have all the answers right now, but I'll come back to you with an answer. So typical me in maybe the past, what, 5, 6 years, or I'll say 6 years ago, I'll be like, I'm sorry, I don't know this. I can't take on this request. I can't do this. It's outside of my purview. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. Right. So I'd say, yeah, embracing discomfort, taking bold steps, um, you know, stepping outside of that safe zone, or stepping out of, what is familiar.
Wow. And I suppose that's also one mindset, that fixated mindset is
Mm,
also one of the things that's stopping a lot of people because they feel I'm only a UI UX person. Don't give me anything
yeah.
other than that. I'm only an engineer. Don't ask me to manage people. I think that boxes us very early on into,
Yeah.
out of several opportunities. And it's really amazing that you mentioned that because it's like a light, it just lit up in my head.
Hmm.
And then of course, um, if you're going to get different results, you need to be a different person.
Yeah.
You have different approach. So thank you
Yeah.
very much for sharing that. But
Yeah.
from your experience, and I know you mentor quite a number of people as well,
Hmm.
so from what you've seen in others as well, what are the fundamental mistakes, or what other fundamental mistakes do people make when starting out career in tech?
I would say people think that tech is all about coding, right? That's one thing. It goes beyond coding. And also, people try to learn everything at once. The truth is that if you want to have a successful career in tech, you need to be open to learning every day, right? You need to be open to learning. new things because it's an evolving landscape, right? Things are changing every single day. So you need to be able to learn. If you're someone who is not like, or you've learned what you want to learn and now you want to, nah, you need to be open, to, learning a lot of things. And it's a gradual process, right? You can't learn everything at once. I myself, I'm still learning. I learn every day. I read documentations and watch videos, step by step videos from time to time, right? So we're all learning and thinking that you can learn everything at once because you're trying to transition into tech is, one of the mistakes that, people make. Trying to do everything within a short time frame. You say, oh, I give myself 2 months, I must learn everything I need to learn about cybersecurity. Yeah, it's not going to work, right? Another thing is, skipping the fundamentals, right? You want to learn about security, cybersecurity, for example. You don't know the first thing about computers. You don't know about servers. You don't know about how an enterprise architecture looks like, right? And you just want to jump right into cybersecurity. So you need to learn the fundamentals. So a lot of people skip the fundamentals, trying to jump right into, oh, I want to go into cybersecurity. Let me start, learning about what, security controls are. You don't know the, if you don't know the foundation, right? If you don't know the fundamentals, like how are you going to secure? What exactly do you want to secure? You don't understand what you want to secure, right? So skipping the fundamentals. Also, common mistakes could be, thinking that having certifications would guarantee you a job. Certifications are good, right? Certifications are good. I'm not, disputing that. It's good for you to, get certified. It means that you understand, whatever it is that you're trying to learn, right? But also, tech is also quite hands-on, right? So we have a lot of big companies that are producing different solutions. They have free trials, they have free labs that you can set up. Be hands-on. It's not just about talking up. You're not just going to be talking about the solution. You're also going to be implementing it. And I always say that the best way for you to understand is for you to actually implement, right? You play around with the solution and then you're able to answer. Someone asks you a question, you're able to answer the question, not based off of something you read in the documentation or having like a general knowledge of, how the solution works. All right. So yes, certifications are good, but having some hands-on skills, can also help with that as well. And yeah, I would say that those are some of the mistakes that people make. Just focusing on getting. I need to read and get the certification, but you don't have hands-on. Thinking that I need to learn everything at once. It's not possible, right? You need to pace yourself, give yourself time, and give yourself grace. Also, thinking that tech is all about coding. There are different areas in tech, right? Someone says, "Oh, it's too technical. I don't want to write code. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that." Right? You have product managers who are they're also in tech as well. You have people in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is broken down into different areas. If you want the really technical bit of it, you want the GRC, which is the risk management part of it, the risk and compliance, you can do that, right? So there are we have technical writers, right? So there are various tech roles, right? You just need to choose, which one, that you want.
Well,
Yeah.
quite a lot of points right there. And I think what, the first that resonates with me is thinking that you must know everything
Yeah.
to start your journey in tech, to be able to, get into tech. And, you debunked that myth because it's what a lot of people, the mindset a lot of people sort of have. where they want to learn everything about cybersecurity within 1 year or within 18 months and say, I'm ready. You're never going to be ready that way. It's not
No.
just about what you're reading, it's also about what you're actually doing. So you need to get your hands dirty, you need to do labs, you need to do projects. As a matter of fact, even when you keep doing projects, you still need to keep learning because
Mhm.
there's always something to learn,
Do
right?
something.
Someone asked a question in the comment. Ola, she's asking. She said, do you enjoy any benefits or any advantage having a degree in tech, degree or master's? How has that made your journey easy? Just paraphrasing the question.
Okay. So let me put it this way, right? Because I already have the degree. It helps. It gets your foot in the door, right? I would say that after I finished my master's, I didn't get a job I did information and network security. I didn't get a job in cybersecurity until like 3, 4 years after, right? So everything that I probably learned during the time of my master's was pretty much, I would say, obsolete, right? Because obviously things are changing, the landscape is changing, right? You have to learn new things. I've seen people make it in tech. I've seen people make it and get a job in tech without having a master's degree, right? This is just based off of the skills that they've learned, right? The boot camps they attended, the hands-on skills that they have, right? So it is good. I mean, like, there's no harm in learning, getting a master's degree, and all that, right? I would say that it helped me to get my foot into a couple of doors, right? But in terms of knowing how to do the job itself, right? That was me, learning by myself, learning things by myself, joining boot camps, watching videos, playing around in the lab, right? Doing hands-on projects and things like that. So I'll say that it has its advantages and maybe disadvantages. It all depends on how you want to see it.
Yeah, so there is an edge, but it doesn't stop anyone who doesn't have the degree from
Yeah,
also pursuing
from learning. Yeah, the
that.
truth is that you can have someone, you can put two people side by side, right? Someone has just finished their masters in maybe computer science or something tech related, and you have someone who has gone through a 6 weeks boot camp with some hands-on projects, and you put them side by side and then you ask them questions. You can clearly tell that there's a difference, right? Because their mindset, the way they think about things, their approach to different projects will be different, right? The person who has the degree will probably come from maybe a theoretical standpoint. Yeah, you might have done some labs during your time in school and all that, but the person who went through a rigorous boot camp, has hands-on training, will probably have a much more different experience.
Yeah, definitely. Just also still staying with Ola. You mentioned earlier in terms of, you cannot skip the fundamentals,
Hmm.
when it comes to tech. You can't just jump into cybersecurity without understanding networking, without understanding system, enterprise architecture, system design, and all of that.
Yeah.
So she's asking how, so I think the question says that how long does it take to learn these rudiments of technology and be able to master the cybersecurity landscape?
Okay. So there's no timeline. Everyone learns in different ways, right? Something that could take me a month to learn can take Taiwo a week to learn or a day to learn, right? Everyone learns at different paces, right? I can't say that there's a fixed timeline as to when you will finish learning something, right? So, like I said, it's a continuous journey. You are going to learn every day. Understanding the fundamentals can take as long as it's going to take, right? Um, you can give yourself a timeline of what 6 months to be able to learn a new stream of or a new area in tech, right? Learning the fundamentals can take you 1 week, can take you a month. It all depends on what your learning abilities are like and also what program you're going through. Some programs that you would sign up for, they can talk about fundamentals for like a day. And after the fundamentals for a day, that's it. That's the end. They're moving on to the next thing, right? So there's no fixed answer to that question, right? So it all depends on these different factors that I just mentioned.
So it's all up to you, Ola. If you want to spend 1 week, you can do it. If you want to spend 6 months, it's up to you as well. There's another question from
Mm-hmm,
Kylie, and I'm just going to tie it into,
mm-hmm,
people who are thinking maybe tech isn't for me. You already mentioned that there are different roles,
mm-hmm.
non-technical, both technical and non-technical within the same tech
Yeah,
landscape, even specific to cybersecurity.
yeah.
But then speaking of cybersecurity, is there a level of intelligence? Maybe we need really smart people, people who are, just better than the average IQ. Do we need that level of intelligence in roles like
No,
cybersecurity?
no,
Or is it just, it's
not
just
at all.
general?
Not at all. You don't have to be super. You see, that's another myth that you have to be a genius to be in tech, right? I mean, I don't consider myself to be like a genius. I don't even know what my IQ is, or like I haven't measured or I haven't tested, right? But there are certain skills that you currently possess that could also help in your journey, right? So in cybersecurity, if you already, before you even get into cybersecurity, right, if you are a very analytical person, right, that is an advantage. You can use that to your advantage because it helps you to see things differently. It helps you to analyze things differently, right? So that's a pro that you're bringing from, some other area of your life that has nothing to do with tech, right? So if you're thinking, oh, tech is not for you, there are various areas, like I mentioned, in the tech space that doesn't have to do with coding, that doesn't have to do with implementing things or deploying things or writing scripts and all that, right? We have technical writers, like I mentioned. We have product managers. Um, we have pre-sales engineers, right? You can be in the tech space and be a pre-sale engineer. Pre-sale engineers, yes, they know about the technology. They don't necessarily implement. Maybe they do like maybe proof of concept, but it's not, might not be too deep, right? You have in cybersecurity, you have the risk and compliance aspect as well, right? That maybe you do audits, you need to learn about regulatory compliance and all those things, right? So if you're thinking tech is not for you, it's important to know that there are various areas. There's like a whole world to explore, right? You don't need to, if you feel like one area might be too difficult for you, you can jump onto the next. There are different areas that you can explore.
Okay. And just coming back to our last question, he or she is asking what the relevant certification or what relevant certification is needed to, pivot into security architect as a role
Okay.
or as a career, but also specifically, does it have to be straight away or does it have to go through a certain pathway?
Okay. So, for me, before I took my cloud security exam, I did the fundamentals, right? Most of the certifications usually have like a fundamentals before you advance to, you know, to higher certification or to a more specific or specialized certification, right? So I started with the fundamentals. I did the Azure Cloud fundamentals just to try and understand, what is Azure Cloud? What are the areas, the various services or the various solutions that we have within Azure Cloud? Because understanding that would help me understand or would give me more clarity as to how I'm going to secure it, right? So I would say that for certificate, most of the certifications, there's usually like a beginner's certification that you can take. There's a fundamental certification, so you can aim, to starting off with that first before advancing to a more specialized, certification. Right? It all depends on which area in tech that you want to delve into. In terms of studying for the certification, how long it take, there's, like I said, when it comes to learning, everyone is different, right? Some people can decide to read for 1 month and then they're ready to take certification, while some people could take 6 months. So it all depends on what your timeline is looking like.
So there's actually no, from what you're saying, there's no fixed path or fixed approach, right? It's just start from the fundamental,
Yeah.
apply yourself, you know, whatever based on, your preference and, just keep leveling up, upskilling from there.
Yeah. Some certification bodies have like how will I put it? They have like a pathway, right? So I'll give an example for the Microsoft certification. We have like different pathways. You want to be a data analyst, they'll list out all the certifications that you need to take, starting from the fundamentals to the expert level. You want to be a cloud architect, they'll put it there. For security, it's there. For productivity, for information protection, all that is there. So they have put like, they've put it in different buckets, right? Depending on which area you're looking to expand to.
And just to conclude,
Yeah.
this session, if I'm looking to start today,
Mhm.
probably in healthcare, or
Mhm.
I just finished school, I studied, you know, international business or whatever it is, non-tech background, and I'm looking to pivot, maybe become a cybersecurity expert like you, or venture into cloud, other aspects of cloud, or do whatever it is
Mhm.
in tech, right? Where should I start from? And how can I, what's the approach, what's the framework, the proven framework to actually
Mhm.
follow that ensures that I won't get stuck, I won't get blocked, and I actually achieve my purpose.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd say first off, knowing your why before your how, right? Why do you want to get into tech? What is your main goal? What is your purpose, right, for going into tech? Or what is your aim for, you know, for transitioning into this field, right? So knowing your why before your how. Also surrounding yourself with learners, not just experts, right? It's good to get insights from experts, but also people who are on the same learning journey as you, as well. Surrounding yourself with them, showing up even when it's hard, right? Because it's not an easy journey, right? It's hard every other day, but just picking yourself up, showing up, even maybe when you're trying to learn something, and it's not entering, or you're not just understanding what they're talking about, but just showing up, and also creating value before you ask for it, and applying yourself before you feel ready, because growth happens in motion, right? So growth doesn't just happen, in one instance. You're not just going to become an expert in a particular tech field overnight because you did some certifications or you read something, but applying yourself constantly, learning, unlearning, relearning, would help you get results within the shortest time possible.
Well, something that will definitely stick with me today is knowing your why before the how, right?
Yeah.
Because that's actually going to be the foundation for you to be able to succeed. It's a tough journey, yes, you can't shy away from that. And for you to be able to stand back up when you fall, when you're sort of defeated yesterday, for you to be able to yourself today is from the why. It's from knowing the why, the reason why you're pursuing a career in tech, or even, and it's a principle that applies to life in general, right?
Mhm.
Anything any project or any goal you really set out to achieve, it's important to have a core reason behind it, a core
Mhm.
purpose to it. The final question, because we're actually running down on time, is from Akim. And of course, I'll come back to you in a moment, Wumi. But Akim is asking, how can early students, or how can students rather, recent graduates probably, or early professionals get
Mhm.
noticed by big tech companies like Microsoft?
Hmm. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe there are some Microsoft programs that are targeted at,
yeah,
early professionals or
yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, we do have we have a lot of programs, right? We have virtual days, virtual learning days, where you can learn a lot of stuff. But the truth is, networking as well.
Yeah.
Networking is very important. Um, I can remember when I was when I was still in Access Bank trying to get into Microsoft, and I would go on LinkedIn, and I used to reach out to at least two recruiters within Microsoft at least um, every week, right? And my mindset was not, oh, I'm scared, I don't want to reach out to them. It was, what's the worst that can happen? Is either they will not respond to me or they will say no, or they could say yes. To be honest with you, this job that I have now, like starting from when I got the job in Nigeria before I moved to Canada, was through networking, right? It was partly through networking, right? That was one way to get my foot in the door, right? So I would say that to get big companies to the company as a whole will not recognize you. Like it's the people within, right? Knowing the right people to talk to, right? Networking, going on LinkedIn, reaching out to people. That's one way to get noticed. Also, when you apply to roles, so some people don't notice this. Like sometimes when you apply to roles on LinkedIn, sometimes they put the hiring manager. It would not cost anything to actually reach out, right? So you can reach out, drop your cover letter, say, "Oh, I applied for this role, hoping to hear back from you. This. I think I'll be perfect for the role." Right. So, taking advantage of your LinkedIn community, your LinkedIn network, to reach out to people. That's one way to get noticed.
Awesome. There you have it there, Akim. If you want to get noticed, you need to reach out. You need to be bold. You need to go all out there, put yourself out there. LinkedIn, even if it's real life, attend virtual days, whatever it is, just connect with people who are where you want to be. And I'm sure they give you an audience. And of course, for me and other people who are looking to transition into tech, and they're wondering, how do I start? How do I get started? Where do I start from? We always encourage that you start from the fundamentals, just like Sharon said earlier, right? It gives you an advantage in the sense that you're building a strong foundation, and from there you could decide which which specializations to now go for rather than going all in into a fast lane like cybersecurity, right? So next Maven, which also supports Get Unblocked webinar, also gonna offers an IT support bootcamp, which runs for 6 weeks, right? And within these 6 weeks, you get to uh you get your hands dirty, even as you're learning, you're also doing. So we have a virtual internship experience where you can use tools. Essentially, it's going to be like a typical day in the office. You're working on tickets, right? And from there, you can develop a portfolio that you can present to a prospective employer to showcase what you've done, showcase your skills and also your experience. And we'll help you with some career services like optimizing your resume, getting your interview ready through different mock interviews, and also equip you with a career roadmap because, of course, the starting point is just IT support. You can grow from IT support to any other high demand role where you can continue to thrive. So, thank you very much, everyone, for being part of today's session. Well, our time is fast spent, but next week, we're also continuing in this webinar series. We'll be bringing on Domain Kibalumi, who is a business systems analyst at Stellos, and we're going to also hear her story how she transitioned from banking, from zero tech experience to becoming a business system analyst at one of the largest enterprises here in Canada. So you get to register at getunblocked.nextmaven.ca for the next sessions. And of course, don't forget it's going to run for the next 5 Saturdays after today. Okay. If you for the boot camp, if you're interested or you like to know more, you can also book a free consultation at calendly.com/nextmaven/careers. All right. Or you can just go to, I think the link is also, yeah, you could just respond to your email as the info at nextmaven to book the free consultation as well. So it's been wonderful speaking with you, Sharon, today. Thank you so much for your time. We learned so much. I've personally learned a lot, and I believe quite a number of people here as well did learn one or two things. And I'm sure they'll be reaching out to you, just like I advised, they'll be reaching out to you, their LinkedIn for some advice and mentorship requests. So thank you so much. It's really been awesome time. And thanks to everyone who has been part of this meeting as well. Have a lovely
Thank you.
day, lovely weekend, and see you next week.
You too.
Bye, everyone.